Hey everybody. So one of the questions I get frequently from my clients is how to stay organized when they are actively looking for a new job. And this is an especially important aspect of the job search that I think is overlooked a lot of times, especially for those of you who might be out there and are unemployed or kind of working a temp job or contract position where you're looking for your next full-time gig. You're applying to jobs every day, sometimes dozens of jobs in a day possibly, and so you want to stay on top of those jobs and keep track of those, because you never want to be caught off guard. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But before I jump into that, I want to talk about one more very important point when it comes to searching for jobs, and that is you need to make sure that you're answering your phone when it rings. And that's because everyone has a cell phone, and every cell phone has a caller ID. And so lots of times when you get phone calls from recruiters or from HR people, you're not going to know that that's who's calling, because it's just going to be some number on your phone. And I know we all get lots of sales calls and robocalls, and so we're kind of reluctant to want to answer calls that we're not familiar with. But if you're looking for a job, you have to answer your phone. And you have to do that because if I'm a recruiter and I call you and I can't get in touch with you, I'm going to leave you a voicemail message. But the minute that I hang up, I'm going back into my stack of resumes for that position I'm trying to fill, and I'm calling the next candidate. And the first candidate that answers the phone call and answers my questions in the way that I want them to is going to get invited to an interview. And so you need to make sure that you're answering your phone at all times when possible. And if you're not able to answer your phone and they leave you a voicemail message, you need to make sure you're returning that phone call as soon as possible, because you don't want to miss out an opportunity because you were too slow in the draw and you didn't call someone back. I know not everyone is comfortable talking on the phone, but you got to get over it. You got to return those phone calls. You got to get back on that recruiter's list for interviews. So make sure you're answering the phone. All right, so let's talk about being organized. So one of the most important things about being organized is you need to stay on top of all the jobs you're applying for. And so there's one very easy way to do that. So first of all, make sure you get yourself a portfolio. And a portfolio is just like sometimes a leather bound, a plastic bound thing that has a zipper or some sort of thing to secure it. So whatever you put inside of it stays inside of it. That makes it really easy for you to take with you wherever you are. You can throw it in your car, you can throw it in your bag, you can throw it in your backpack, your suitcase, whatever. So you always have it with you. So you have this portfolio, right? That is a notebook, a place for pens, things like that. And then what you want to do is you want to create a tracking spreadsheet. That's what I did. You create some sort of tracker spreadsheet that includes all the jobs you applied for. And so the way that I structured mine and the way that I advise my clients to structure theirs is Excel spreadsheet or some sort of Google Doc. You put the name of the company that you applied to, you put the title of the job you applied for, you put where is the job. If it's remote, you can put remote, but if it's in Dallas, Dallas, Houston, Houston, wherever the case may be, you put the title, the location. I like to put the date I applied for the job. If I've had a first screen, when was the date of the first screen? When was the date of the interview? When was the date of the second interview? And then like a note section so I can keep notes. Sometimes I'll be like, it spoke to the recruiter on a follow-up. They promised to get back to me on September 1st, whatever the case may be. The more information you can put in that tracking spreadsheet, the easier it is. You can look at it for a glance and be like, okay, I haven't heard from this recruiter in 4 weeks. I need to follow up with them. So it's also helpful for you can try to follow up and get some answers on some interviews you've had in the past. So you take that spreadsheet, you try to print it off every day or however often you're updating that spreadsheet. You put that in its own separate manila folder and you put that in that portfolio. Okay, so that's step two. Get the portfolio, create that spreadsheet, put in the portfolio. Step two. Now step three is very important. What you need to do, and I know this is going to sound like a lot, but for every job you apply to, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to print off a copy of the job description, a copy of the resume you used to apply for that job. If you were required or if you submitted a cover letter as part of your application, you want to include a copy of that cover letter that's specific to that job. And then if there's any other research you've done on the company or any other facts you picked up while you're interviewing or while you're looking for the job, you want to include that. And you want to clip all those together for each individual job you've applied for, right? And so you're going to take all of those, however you want to secure them together and separate them. Maybe you create separate manila folders for them. I don't really recommend that because that can get a little bit messy. But you put all those together and you put those in the front of your portfolio, right? And so then let's say for two of those jobs you put in there, you get a phone screen. So you take those two jobs you've had for a phone screen and you move those to the middle of your portfolio, right? And then once you have an interview for those positions, you take those jobs that you've had an interview for and you move those to the back half of the portfolio. And you keep just rotating those so you kind of have an idea. The front half jobs are jobs that you've applied to and are waiting to hear back on. The middle are jobs you've had a screen for. the end section of the jobs you've had interviews for or multiple interviews for. And you just keep those in there because, again, you don't want to be in a situation where you get a phone call and you answer the phone call and someone's like, hey, this is Bob from so-and-so company. I know you applied for this job. Love to talk to you about it. And you're like, oh my gosh, yes, I know I applied for that job, but I don't remember anything about it. I don't remember anything about the company. Oh my gosh. And you kind of start to panic. Well, if you have this portfolio with you, you know what? You can kind of buy some time like, oh yeah, Bob, so great to hear from you. And while you're kind of just, making it up as you go along, you're busy going through your portfolio looking for that one job. And then you stop, you ask Bob a question while Bob's talking. You're going through your portfolio and you're looking through all this information you have to get yourself reacquainted with the job so you can feel more comfortable and more confident about the conversation you're about to have, right? Because you want to make sure that you're coming across as professional, that you're not coming across as someone who's not organized. And so by staying organized, and again, especially if you're applying for a lot of jobs, this is so important because you don't want to be caught off guard and be like, I don't remember ever applying to that. That just happened to my wife last week. She'd hate for me to even say that, but last week it happened to her where she got a call from a different job. She's like, I don't even remember applying for that job. Did you apply for the job for me? And I'm like, no, I didn't do that. So she's my wife, so she doesn't listen to me. Anyways, for you, stay organized, stay focused, be professional. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll talk to you guys later.